All right, so today's Friday, December 6th. It's about 5:30. It's the end of the week for me here with the left wing of the Sling TSi build. It's basically just repeating everything I did on the right wing, with the exception of a couple extra grommets along the wing ribs there that are gonna hold the pitot lines and the angle of attack, as well as the wires for the landing lights and the strobe at the end of the wing there. It goes together pretty easy, especially when you've already done a wing. I've got it over here on these extra stands so that I can get to the underneath of the wing. I'll get that riveted up next week or maybe this weekend if I can get in here. Earlier this week, I finished the right wing. I left the wing tip off just because it adds about 1.5 feet, maybe almost 2 feet to the length of the wing. And as you can see, it's already pretty lengthy. So I fitted the flaps and the aileron on, and everything's nice and straight. Fits in really clean, no messing with any of the components. It all just slides in easily. One thing, last week's video, I mentioned that I was having trouble with the flap contacting the edge here. I marked all the rivets that were kind of hitting, and I emailed the factory, and what they said to do was use 6mm length rivets rather than the 8, and then grind them down. Let's get it to focus here. Come on. Well, I guess it's not going to focus, but anyway, grind them down just slightly, obviously leaving the mandrel part that holds it in, so that the flap clears it. And even then, I had to mark which ones needed a little extra grinding, but it's all good now. The instructions say to use 8mm rivets like the rest of it, so I'm not really sure why it says that, but not a big deal. I just had to use some shorter rivets, but I already had them here at the shop. And so, as you can see, I had to relay out the shop again because the wing was just slightly too long to fit lengthwise back here where I had it before. So that was kind of frustrating, and all that work I did a couple weeks ago to get this table over here was exactly reversed. So, oh well. I had a guy reach out to me and wanted to come by and check out the build. He's interested in building a TSi, so he was nice enough to help out moving everything around, and that was awesome. It's really cool to see a strong community and everybody helping each other out here. Actually, that being said, I'm interested to know of the people who are watching these videos, if you're interested specifically in the Sling TSi and that's why you're watching this, you're interested in home build in general, or just people doing weird stuff in their garage. Whatever it is though, if you could leave a comment and let me know so I can help kind of cater the video content towards, you know, the majority of the people. I'm assuming that nobody's finding these videos in the depths of YouTube without searching specifically for Sling TSi, so that's kind of how I've been catering it so far. But yeah, here's the left wing. It's coming together pretty nice. And let's see here. So this is where the pitot tube mounts, and there it is. And so, yep, that just holds it in. And actually the pitot tube itself comes with really long metal tubes connected to it, and I'm assuming that I'm gonna have to cut them down so that they fit in here, and they just kind of leave them long from the factory to suit whatever configuration the particular plane it's being sold for requires. But I'll look into that before I cut them, of course. One other thing that I wanted to mention is basically just because I decided to make weekly videos and there's not a whole lot to talk about this week, but for those of you who are building in a 2-car garage or thinking about building a 2-car garage, I commend you, because I'm having trouble doing it in a 1,400 square foot shop here. Granted, I used a bunch of space for the router and laser cutter that aren't really part of this build, but space is tight, and but it's doable. And so, yeah, I think that you could do it. Maybe it's the shape of the shop, maybe because it's kind of long and narrow. But I think that you could do it in a 2-car garage, but it's tight. A 3-car garage would be great, but then of course you have nowhere to park your car. So that's just one thing I've been thinking about a little bit this week as I've been building. So unfortunately, that's pretty much all I have to report this week. It was a little bit hectic trying to get going again after the Thanksgiving break, as well as trying to get some Christmas present type stuff built. But yep, so hopefully next week this wing should be all buttoned up and finished. And then unfortunately, I think I have no choice but to start the avionics, which I've been dreading. And I'll get to wiring, and that should be a pretty interesting task in itself. So all right, until next week.